Some stories begin with loud celebrations, with laughter, wealth, or fame. Babra Sharif's story does not begin like that. Babra Sharif was born on December 10, 1954 in Lahore, a city where art, culture, and dreams flowed through every street. She grew up in a middle-class family, where discipline was firm and values were held close to the heart. Life was simple, but it was not without challenges. From a young age, Babra carried a spark, a charm that made people pause and look again. Unlike many children who dreamed of becoming doctors or teachers, Babra dreamt of lights, cameras, and applause. She didn't know what destiny had written for her, but she knew she wanted to be more than ordinary. Her early life taught her the importance of patience and hard work. These lessons would later become her biggest strengths. As she watched classic films on black and white screens, she felt something awaken inside her. She didn't just watch actresses, she studied them, their expressions, elegance, and power. Little did she know that one day, she would become one of Pakistan's brightest stars, a symbol of beauty, talent, and resilience. Her journey was about to begin, a journey that would change Pakistani cinema forever. Babra's education took place in Lahore, where she attended a local school known for discipline and strong academic values. But Babra was different. Her notebooks were filled with poetry, doodles of film scenes, and dreams too big for a classroom to hold. Education gave her structure, but art gave her life. She participated in school plays, always receiving applause for her performance and confidence. Teachers noticed her extraordinary ability to express emotions naturally. "This girl will be something one day," they often said, and they were right. However, dreams come with a price. Her family was supportive but cautious. They wanted her to study and live a balanced life. The thought of joining showbiz wasn't easy for a respectable household in those days. But Babra's passion grew stronger each day. On her way back from school, she would quietly rehearse dialogues from radio dramas. She practiced expressions in front of mirrors, perfecting every smile and tear. She wasn't waiting for an opportunity. She was preparing for it. Life was guiding her toward the stage, even when she didn't realize it. Soon, her first big break would arrive, in a way she never expected. Babra Sharif's entry into the entertainment world began unexpectedly. At the age of 11, she appeared in a Cadbury chocolate commercial, a moment that changed everything. People immediately noticed her innocence and natural screen presence. She didn't look like she was acting. She looked real. This small TV commercial became the starting point of a legendary journey. More brands approached her, and soon, she became one of the most recognizable faces in Pakistani advertising. The young girl from Lahore was suddenly everywhere, on billboards, TV screens, and magazine covers. But success came with struggles. Babra had to balance school with shoots, facing criticism from relatives and neighbors who believed showbiz was not respectable for young girls. She ignored the noise and focused on her craft. She was determined, focused, and fearless. The child model was slowly transforming into a performer. Every photo shoot, every commercial polished her like a diamond. She knew she was heading toward something bigger, something cinematic. Life was about to change again, as the film industry came knocking on her door. Babra Sharif stepped into films during the early 1970s, a time when the Pakistani film industry was alive with talent and competition. She made her debut with Intizar, 1974, but it was her performances in Shabana and Mera Naam Hai Mohabbat that turned her into a sensation. Her acting style was refreshing, soft but powerful, graceful yet intense. She wasn't just another pretty face. She brought authenticity to every role she played. Within a few years, she became one of the most bankable actresses in the country. Yet behind the glamour was a young girl fighting her own battles. She faced criticism, jealousy, and harsh comparisons. But instead of running away, she worked harder. She arrived at sets early, memorized every line, rehearsed tirelessly, and treated her co-stars with humility. Her dedication transformed her into an icon. Producers trusted her. Audiences adored her. Competitors feared her. She was no longer the girl from a chocolate commercial. She was Babra Sharif, the rising queen of Pakistani cinema. But fame often comes with emotional storms, and hers was just beginning. While Babra's career soared, her personal life was not as glamorous. The pressure of being in the limelight at such a young age was overwhelming. Everyone praised her beauty, her acting, her elegance, but few understood the loneliness behind the curtain. She was working nonstop, and that left little time for family or friends. She often felt isolated despite being surrounded by cameras and crowds. Fame, she realized, could be both a blessing and a silent burden. Her relationships were complicated by her schedule and the pressure of public life. She craved stability, emotional support, and someone who could see Babra, the human, instead of Babra, the superstar. There were days she questioned whether the world loved her or just her image. Nights when she cried from exhaustion. Moments when she wished she could pause her life, even for a second. But she refused to break. Instead, she turned her pain into performance, her loneliness into focus. Every emotional scene she delivered on screen carried a piece of her real struggles, and that authenticity made her unforgettable. In the mid-1970s, Babra Sharif married actor Shahid, a marriage that created headlines everywhere. Fans celebrated their union, imagining a fairy tale romance. For a while, it truly was beautiful. They shared dreams, screen chemistry, and youth. But life is rarely as perfect as films. The pressures of stardom, busy schedules, and constant media attention took a toll on their relationship. Misunderstandings grew, and emotions faded. Their divorce came as a shock to fans, and a painful chapter for Babra. It wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the shattering of trust, hope, and companionship. She suffered silently, hiding her tears from the world. Instead of letting heartbreak destroy her, she used it as fuel. She returned to work stronger, more focused, more determined than ever. Her performances became deeper, emotional, and intense because she wasn't acting anymore. She was expressing her truth. This heartbreak didn't break her, it shaped her. By the 1980s, Babra Sharif was at the peak of her career. She was everywhere: films, magazines, awards, and national conversations. She performed in classics like Silsila, Og, Miss Colombo, becoming an unmatched symbol of elegance. Directors admired her discipline. Co-stars respected her professionalism. Audiences adored her charm, her expressions, her dedication. She could play a romantic heroine, a tragic lover, a strong, independent woman, with the same brilliance. But what made her truly iconic was her humility. Despite being the top actress in Pakistan, she never let fame change her. She remained polite, gentle, respectful, and grounded. Her fame was not just the result of talent, but of honesty, consistency, and a heart full of passion. Yet with great success came the biggest challenge of her life: the decision to step away. At the peak of fame, Babra made a surprising decision. She stepped away from the film industry. She chose peace over popularity, self-respect over spotlight, and inner happiness over public applause. For many, this choice was shocking. But for Babra, it was essential. She had achieved everything she dreamed of. She had proved herself. She had survived struggles, heartbreaks, competition, and pressure. Now, she wanted silence. A life away from cameras. A life for herself. Walking away from stardom requires more courage than becoming a star, and Babra had that courage. Instead of fading away, she preserved her legacy with dignity. She chose to retire gracefully, becoming a symbol of class and integrity. Her absence created a void in the industry, one that no one has filled since. After leaving films, Babra Sharif lived a life of privacy and peace. She avoided controversies, interviews, and limelight. She focused on herself, her health, her family, and her emotional healing. People still recognized her everywhere, but she preferred to stay quiet, smiling gently, letting her eyes speak. She never tried to return for attention. She never used her past fame for spotlight. Her grace became her identity. Even today, when people speak about legendary actresses, Babra Sharif's name rises with respect. She is remembered not only for her beauty and talent, but for her strength, discipline, and dignity. Her story teaches us, you don't need to stay in the spotlight to remain a star. Babra Sharif's life is more than a tale of fame. It is a story of determination, courage, and self-respect. She proved that success is not about where you start, but how passionately you chase your dreams. She taught that heartbreak doesn't end life. It often begins transformation. She showed that one can reach the top with humility, work ethic, and grace. And finally, she demonstrated that walking away is also a victory. Her journey reminds us, no matter what life throws at you, keep going, keep dreaming, keep fighting, keep believing in your worth. Because someday, like Babra Sharif, your story will inspire the world. If you like this story and want to see more about the untold facts of celebrities like Babra Sharif, like, share, and do not forget to subscribe.